Hey guys, it's me giving you a bonus Thursday morning video drop about a hand that came up in an RBC knockout from Monday night. This is from the match where Collins Williams' squad cleaned my team's clock. They beat us by about 40 imps over 36 boards. So congrats to the team of Russ Weimer, Collins Williams, and the Stemkovskis. They beat us like 100-60, but it was very cool to play a 36 board match against good competition. And I've selected a hand that I thought was pretty cool from a few different standpoints. The main point of this hand is kind of a neat play that's available. And the second point is just a reminder that, so I think one table got to 6 clubs and one table got to 6 hearts on these two hands. And at team game scoring, it doesn't really matter too much whether you go 1370 or 1430. Like, you're only going to lose 2 imps for being in 6 clubs if both 6 clubs and 6 hearts are making. At match points, it would be pretty much of a disaster. Like at pair scoring, it would be pretty much of a disaster to be in clubs instead of hearts. But the thing is, it might make a big difference whether you can take all your tricks on this hand, and 13 are available in hearts, or whether you just settle for 12 and be happy that you bid the slam and made it. Okay, so I'm always trying to talk you out of that kind of thinking, and want to help develop your curiosity for different plays that can, get extra tricks. Because the more of those that you have, the more of that sort of thinking you have in your toolbox, it's going to lead to extra tricks on a lot of boards, and those really bolster your pair scoring score. So anyway, you can kind of see the auction they had here. They got the 6 hearts. The auction's not really all that important. I think if you actually knew all the cards here, this is probably a solid enough contract that you would want to be in 7. If we just count the tricks here, let's assume that at some point East asks West how many key cards for hearts he has, and you come up with the answer of 3. Like, you can count to 12 tricks in your own hand, right? You can count 6 hearts, the ace of spades, the ace king of diamonds, and the ace king queen of clubs. So that would be 12 tricks. And we haven't given partner credit for, say, the queen of diamonds or long clubs, the jack of clubs, perhaps the king of spades. There's a bunch of different ways that you can take 13. In fact, here East did have the information that West had a pretty good hand with clubs, like 12 plus points and a long club suit, like at least 5 of them. So given that, if we were counting the tricks, we would have 6 hearts, 2 diamonds, ace of spades, ace, king, queen of clubs, and we could project that even if partner didn't have the jack of clubs, say, if the clubs break 3-2, we're going to be able to set up a long club for our 13th trick. So all in all, I think you would want to be in 7 hearts here. But if you're in 6, particularly at pairs scoring, you want to be able to take all 13 tricks and get that extra 30 points that might be worth, say, a quarter of a board on a kind of an obvious slam bid hand like this, where that it's not going to be enough to get 80% of the match points just bidding the slam, because most people in the field are going to be able to find this one. All right. So anyway, let's talk about the play in 6 hearts here. I've encouraged you before that you should basically at pairs play, if it's a normal contract, you should play 6 hearts kind of the same way you would play 7 hearts. You don't want to take any crazy chances for that, but if there's a reasonably good line to take 7, you would want to go down that path. And even if we're in 4, like say we know we've missed a slam and we're disappointed about that, we still want to try and take as many tricks as possible, right? Okay, so lecture over on that thing. Let's go to the play here. So on the actual hand, I let a spade, and that's the route we're going to go down in a second when we talk about kind of this fancy play that exists, but which is totally accessible to the listener here. But we're going to go down that path in a second. It's easy if I don't lead a spade. So like let's go down all the paths that can happen if I lead a non-spade. Okay, let's say I lead a heart, and you would count your tricks as declare. It's 1 spade, 6 hearts, ace king of diamonds is 9, ace king queen of clubs is 12, and then either the clubs can break, or we could rough out the 4th round of clubs, and if we still have an entry to the dummy, we'll be able to get that. So that's what happened on a heart lead. Okay, you would win the ace of hearts. You would look for the safest entry to your hand that doesn't blow up one of West's 2 remaining entries. So let's say we played a diamond back to the hand, and we pull the trump. Let's just say we pitch the spades here if we can. We just don't want to pitch that 5th club, right? Because that's the 13th club if they break 4-1. This is fine, I guess. And just a spade is fine. So we pulled the trump at this point, and then it's just like if the clubs break 3-2, we can claim. And when they don't break 3-2, we just set them up, right? So ace of clubs, and now we rough out the last club. And at this point, we have the ace of spades, the 10 of hearts, the king of diamonds, and the 9 of clubs for the rest of the tricks. So what happens if we just go back to the very start? If you lead a diamond, it's kind of the same thing, right? Go ahead and go up 10, I guess. I'm covered with the jack. So win the ace of diamonds, and we start pulling trump. So it's blocked right now. If we just played a club back to our hand, that's probably the safest thing at this point. Play a club back to our hand, we draw the trump, and it's the same thing, right? You're going to pull the trump, you're going to play queen, ace of clubs, figure out that they break 4-1, you're going to rough a club back to your hand, and you still have the ace of spades as an entry. Well, what happens if they lead a club? We just exhaust all these possibilities. And we win that, play a heart to the bullet. This time it looks like a diamond back is the safest, right? We don't want the club to get roughed. So we play a diamond back to our hand this time. And again, we pull the trump. We try to run the clubs. It doesn't work, but we still have an entry to the long club with the ace of spades once we rough them out, right? So all this being said, the lead that gives the most problems is actually a spade, okay? Because it kills one of the entries to the long club once it turns out that we need to rough them. So watch what happens, you know, if they lead a spade and you go up ace. And again, we unblock the ace of hearts and play a diamond to our hand. Should be fine. And we run the hearts, and we're kind of lazily just thinking here like, okay, well, the clubs are going to break, and we're going to make all 13 tricks. We're just not really even paying attention. We pull the last trump. This does us no good. I guess we pitch that. And now that we've pulled the trumps, we try running the clubs. And look, it's easy enough to like fall asleep here and think, the clubs are probably breaking 3-2. I don't need to make any contingency plans. I've got the slam made anyway. That's the lazy way I'm trying to get you off of. And now when we rough out that club, you'll see the problem. Okay, now the 9 of clubs is good, but there's no way to get to it because they let a spade, and that took an entry out from the board. Okay, so what we need is a fancy play. And we'll go back to the start. And it's actually going to be a squeeze. Now, what you should know about squeezes, if you've heard me talk long enough, is that the conditions are fertile for those when we have all the rest of the tricks but one. Okay, so let's go with the spade lead, which is going to lead to this double squeeze. And technically, it takes the king of spades to require this, right? Because if we let a 4th best spades, say, technically, not that you would ever make this play, but technically you could let it ride with the queen. Okay, and that would just be 13 tricks. You'd have 2 spades, 6 hearts, 2 diamonds, and 3 clubs. You don't even care how the clubs break. So let's stick with the king of spades lead here and talk about some principles. So that trick is forced. We have 1 spade, we have 6 hearts, we have 2 diamonds, and we have 3 clubs, 4 if they break 3-2, but if they don't break 3-2, this time we're not going to have an entry back to the board. Okay, so if we're really focused on getting that 13th trick and we're thinking clearly and we're not being lazy, here's how the thinking would go. Okay, they took my entry, my late entry off the board here, right? Because I'm about to burn an entry to unblock the trump suit. And then I won't have any entries back to the clubs if they happen to break 4-1. So they killed that entry. And if the clubs are 3-2, nothing I do matters. So is there a scenario where I've only got 3 club tricks? I've got the ace of spades, I've got 6 hearts, and I've got the ace king of diamonds, that's 12. Is there a situation where I could set up a squeeze? And in fact, there is. Okay. In fact, if we go to, let's see, what if I pull a paint thing here? I think I can do that. Nope, not Cortana. What happens if pull this and do that? Okay, cool. So we're just on basically a text pad here. Let's do some squeeze terminology practice using our paintbrush. So this club, like one of these small clubs, okay, we'll circle the 3, I guess. It's the 4th round of clubs. That is called a threat. Sure, there's an easier way to do this, but this is kind of funny. That's a threat. And it is a threat against North, who holds a club guard. We'll put the guard in red. This North hanging on to 4 clubs, North having 4 clubs, keeps West from just running the club suit. Okay, so we'll put guard in red, threats in black. Okay, so that's the club threat is a potential 13th trick. What else do we have as threats? Well, it turns out that this spade is a threat against South's spade length, right? South is the only one that can guard spades. Okay, if we play ace of spades and ruff a spade and later ruff a spade, North isn't going to have any spades left. And that's going to leave South in possession of the sole spade guard. Okay. And then what we've got is a third suit, the diamond suit, where we've got, we call this suit the pivot suit. Okay, and what I'm looking for here is an end position that looks like this. Sure. Now, let's see. What I'm looking for is a position that looks like this. Remember, our threats are in black. If I could be in the dummy with the spade threat and this club threat, okay, and remember, North has the club guard. It's an X bigger than West's X. And South has the spade guard. And now if we look at the diamond suit, right? The board's just going to have a small diamond, and declare over here is going to have ace, king, X of diamonds. I'm going to underline our threats here in just a second. So this is a threat, this is a threat, this is a threat, this guy's a guard, this guy's a guard. What you'll notice, if we get down to this 3-card ending, right, with the lead in the West hand, holding a spade and a club threat, and one of our opponents guards one suit, and the other opponent guards the other suit, they don't each have room for 3 diamonds. And this little guy here, we'll put him in green now, he becomes the 13th trick. And this is called a double squeeze with diamonds as the pivot suit. And this is the 3-card ending where the magic is. What we're going to have to do to end in this 3-card position is run off our winners. Okay? We've already got 12 winners, so we don't have to duck anything. We're already at that. I have the rest of the tricks but 1 point. So let's go back to the initial hand and see how this is going to work. All right, back to the bridge bit. Cool. All right, so let's go back to trick one. We're going to lead the king of spades just so that East can't go, ha, 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 I could just duck it to my queen. And now we're going to try to arrive at that end position that I was just talking about. All right. So in order to get North to not be able to guard spades, we need to lead them twice from the dummy, right? The best way to do that is right away at trick two. So let's lead a spade. And what we're doing here technically is called isolating the guard. We are making sure that South has sole responsibility of the spade suit. Let's lead a heart. We're unblocking the trump suit, starting to pull trump here. Okay. Let's lead a club to our hand. Excuse me, this is not what I wanted to do. Let's continue isolating the spade guard here is what I want to do. And you'll see at this point that South's the only one who has the spade guard. Okay. If we pull the trump now, we are basically just going to fall into this position, right? We just need to keep a spade and a diamond in the dummy, and the rest is going to fall into place. Okay, so South has to continue following to hearts. We can actually pitch a club from the dummy, right? We only need 4 clubs. North can pitch a diamond, that's fine. And we play our last heart winner. Pitch the diamond from dummy. North has to pitch a diamond. Otherwise, she unguards the clubs. So we do that. And now watch what happens when we run the clubs. Okay? Either the clubs will be 3-2, or we're going to fall into this double squeeze position, right? We don't cash the ace of diamonds first because that's the taxi to the 8 of diamonds threat in our hand. Okay, so watch what happens when we play clubs. South can let go of 1 spade. He's not under any pressure quite yet. But look what the 8 of clubs does to him. He's got to hold on to the jack of spades, right? Otherwise, the 5 is the last spade in the deck. Perforce he throws a diamond. Okay, so at this point, East is thinking, okay, well, the clubs didn't break. Let's see if the squeeze happened. Let's see if the 5 of spades is a threat against the jack. The 9 of clubs is a threat against this jack, and they can't both guard diamonds. Okay, I'm just going to run the diamond suit, shrug, and if it happened that one opponent held spades, the other opponent held clubs, we got them. Ace diamonds, king of diamonds fells the jack, or the queen, and this 8 of diamonds is good at trick 13, be the double squeeze. So a lot of different points there. Don't look at that club suit and just assume that it's breaking 3-2. That's lazy. You lose lazy points there. When we have all of the rest of the tricks but 1, there might be a squeeze position. And you might be able to just fall into it if you set it up right? Kind of the way I think about it now is that I try and imagine that what the ending's going to look like and see if I can get to that, right? But also, like, a lot of the time, she'll just fall into it if you duck the appropriate number of tricks. Here we had 12 tricks. There's 13 tricks in a deal with bridge, so we don't have to duck any. Okay. Again, on the don't be lazy thing, if you're in 6 hearts, and it's obvious on a hand like this, and let's say that 30% of the field bids a game and 70% of the field bids a slam. If you find 70% of the field bidding a slam, I'd call that a pretty obvious one. All right. And let's say that all the people who bid 6 hearts, other than you, of course, are content with their 12 tricks. All right. So they get 1430 on the board, 980, I guess you're white here. So they would beat 30% of the field and they would tie 70% of the field for a 65% score. But if you're the one who's vigilant about getting that 13th trick, you get from 65% to 100%. That's a 35% delta. You play 22 boards in a night. 35 divided by 22 is 1.5%. 1.5% is what it takes to win very often. That's the difference between first and second. You find 3 or 4 of those 1.5% in one night. That's the difference between averaging a 50% and averaging a 56%. If you average 56%, you're going to win a lot just based on variance, right? A 56% player is going to score 60% very often, right? This learning process is a matter of collecting these nuggets of where we can get 1.5% from, and then hoping the conditions are right and that we have the skills to take advantage of them and cluster enough of them into one night, get a little bit lucky, post a 65, win 2.4 silver points, move up to our next level in master points, have the self-satisfaction that you've taken the max number of tricks, right? Anyway, this is what I'm trying to get you guys to do. One more point, and then I'll quit yakking. If we go to bridge face and have a hand like this, this is kind of how you would find this in the first place. Like, I didn't see that play immediately. I'll tell you what the process that leads to seeing that play is, though. I go to my history. I find this board. I think it was from the first half, and it's board 18. And I noticed to myself, hey, that's weird. It looked like maybe a spade lead could hold it to 12 tricks. But when I go up here to my little ladder and hit show double dummy, it says that all my leads lead to an over trick. How could that be if the king of spades takes the late entry out of dummy? And from there, you start looking at, you start looking at, oh, okay, it's a puzzle. And I'm going to allow myself to even look at all the cards. How would I make 13, right? And you can go to, you can pop it out. So let's say export. And we would say hand viewer link. And we would go here, and again, we'd use our give. And it would say, okay, doesn't matter what they lead. Let's say they lead the king of spades, because that's what I thought would be the trickiest thing to lead. We hit next to play. Oh, excuse me. We hit play. And we know we've got to win the ace of spades. Let's hit give again. Huh. Look at that. I've got to play a spade at trick 2. I wonder why that is. Let's just go down this path. And we know we got to rough it, otherwise they're going to win the trick. And we hit give again. We go, okay, that's interesting. I've got to play trumps or the king, queen of clubs right now. It's interesting that the 8 of clubs and the ace of diamonds cost me a trick. Let's go ahead and pull the trump. That's kind of what I wanted to do. We're unblocking the trump suit. Let's hit give again. Isn't that interesting? It says lead a spade again. Okay, I'll do that. I got to rough it. Okay, it seems to me like pulling the trump could be right now. Okay, confirmed. All the trumps have 1s by them. Let's make sure what we can pitch from dummy. Okay, as long as we don't pitch that spade, which is a threat. This would be a big aha moment here. Like if you see that pitching the 5 of spades is down to just making, that should be a light bulb. Let's pitch a diamond. That looks like the most harmless thing to me. And we check the give again. It says, okay, yeah, we can still pull some trump. And it looks like we could pitch a club because we only need 4 of those. Is that true? Yeah, okay. And North can certainly pitch a diamond. And we check give again. Just do this trick by trick by trick. Okay. And let's say, okay, well, let's check this out. It actually says I can play a club right now as long as I play one of the big clubs. Let's see what that leads to. And you go through this. Then you hit give again. Oh, look, wow, I can't play another round of clubs because South would rough it. And the only card in my hand that has a green 1 by it's the Jack of Hearts. That pulls the last thing. I know that pitching the spade is wrong from earlier. I know that pitching a club's got to be wrong. Therefore, pitching a diamond's got to be the only thing I could possibly do. And the only thing North could possibly do is pitch a diamond. Let's hit give again. Huh. This time the only card in my hand that lets me take all the tricks is the queen of clubs. I wonder why the ace of diamonds wouldn't do it. And then you like walk through this, figure out, oh, the reason the ace of diamonds wouldn't do it is because I'm left with that 3-card ending where I've got the spade and the club, but there's no way back to my hand to enjoy the 8 of diamonds. And this is the process you would use. Anytime you're puzzled about how would you take more tricks, or how could we take more tricks on defense, this is the process. You go to it, you hit the ladder, you push it to a link like this, and then you play with this tool. and you're gonna fall into recognizing some card play stuff, right? Or you could follow the squeeze principles, or you could imagine the 3-card ending. Whatever does it for you, there's some super neat stuff that's going on in card play that is extremely valuable to your bottom line. Okay. And this is like, this double squeeze is actually like about as fancy as it gets. This is about as fancy as I'm capable of right here, is recognizing that something like this exists. There's a lot of lower hanging fruit than this that you're not taking advantage of, that would be, you know, one of those 1.5% nuggets that you could pick up on your way to raising your average from 50 to 56. Anyway, guys, I hope this inspires you. Use your double dummy tool. Don't be content with just making game, or just making your contract, or just making a small slam. You've got to be vigilant about counting your tricks. When you have all the rest of the tricks but one, run your winners. Sometimes cool stuff happens. Vocabulary from today: guard, threat, pivot suit. That's it. Okay. See you guys soon.